I can have wonderful people, wonderful friends and life, but the happiness is somewhere else. It is with God. My name is Father Albert Wosniowski. I'm the member of the Pauline Fathers, or Order of St. Paul the First Hermit. I was born in Poland in 1968 in the ordinary Polish family. Grew up with my grandparents in the village countryside. One of the youth retreats what we had as a youth group of our parish, watching movie of Jesus of Nazareth, when Jesus is calling his disciples and asking them, "Follow me." And in that very moment, I really felt that he is calling me. And that was an amazing experience in the sense that the whole world almost disappeared. It was between me and Jesus Christ. That was very private, personal, spiritual experience about my vocation. Another experience what I had, it was one of the days when we had a party with my friends, a group from my school, high school, and then wonderful time and wonderful fun. But when I came back home, I felt empty. And then in my room, I was praying and asking God, what truly is giving me happiness? And then I really felt that time that I can have wonderful people, wonderful friends and life, but the happiness is somewhere else. It is with God. And that was one of the turning points in my vocation. And I would say another one, it was one of the visits in the seminary of the Pauline Fathers, when they invited young men discerning vocation. And when I visited one of the rooms, there were few seminarians there having wonderful talk, and they were really laughing. They were almost also fighting with each other. And when I left that room, I was really feeling, yes, they are normal people, ordinary people. Religious life, priesthood is not something what probably is impossible for me. I can have to be a normal person and then still fulfill my vocation to respond to God's call, to do something more as a priest, as a religious, serving God and serving people. And I think these 2 points, they are very important. To listen to God, to discern, but also to see this is normal life. They are normal people who are discerning a vocation and then living with that vocation and then searching for the true happiness in my life and having wonderful friends and group of people around me and some vision for the life. Yes, God was the one who was winning in that process. And that's why I would say these 2 points, they are very important in any discerning process of vocation. Poland, as a communist country, had kind of the policy in that time to break vocations, and many of us who were discerning vocation were kind of afraid to tell anyone about that I want to be a priest. And to the point that even the closest people, family members, didn't know about that. And I didn't tell anyone in my family, and even my mom. My father passed away when I was 16, and I was quite afraid to tell her about her reaction, that one son is going to the military service for 2 years and he will be not much able to come back home, and now I'm joining the religious life, going to the monastery. Then she's losing both of us in the same time. That was one of the fears. And the second was, if my mom will tell neighbors, family, and then the communist authority will find out that I'm considering to become a priest, they can call me to military service as well, because that was the ways they were trying to break vocations. And I really kept secret about that from anyone until the last couple months after my final exams in the high school. I decided to tell Mom about this decision. And she was so great and supportive in that way, because she surprised me. And the day when I told her, calling her to my room, Mom, I want to be a priest. And then I was expecting she will fight, she will beg me to stay home, but she said, son, it is your vocation, go. And her approval and her understanding, it is something what really helped me in my vocation as well, because I could see that she is behind my vocation and my happiness in my human journey as well. And I'm so grateful for that. When I was passing the gates and doors of that monastery and walking in to the room, which is called the cell, but when I walked into that room, which was pretty dark, and then really thick walls and then bars on the windows, I sit down and look around, and I said, I'm at home. I'm really in the place where I belong. And that spiritual feeling of peace, that I finally reach the destination, it was wonderful feeling, confirming to me that call from God is the call which I can find happiness. It was the time when we totally built the bond as a community, when we had the opportunity to learn about the spirituality and history of the Order and the charism for our community. And after 1 year, we take the first religious vows and then move to the seminary in Krakow for 6 years of studies and education. And it is also the time when we have a lot of, I think, personal questions regarding to confirm about this way of life. And I did have some, obviously, regarding the way of life and the regulation of the constitution of the Order. I can say in that way, God really proved to me that saying yes to His call, I choose the right path in my life, and as priesthood it is really joyful for me.
Mother of Christ, star of the sea, pray for the wanderers, pray for me. O gentle chaste and spotless maid, we sinners.
Hello and welcome to Vocare. My name is Jerome Midley and I'm here with Father Albert from Marion Valley. Coming from Poland, it was a communist government, and we've heard that you didn't really tell your mum about joining the seminary until later on, and when you were about to join it. Afterwards, after you became a priest, were there any hardships from the government or hardships concerning your family?
What did happen as soon as I left home, she received a letter from the local police station coming, and then they questioned her about where I am, what I'm doing, what is happening with me, but because already I left home and I was in the monastery, they couldn't really call me back, because that time was already agreement between the Catholic Church in Poland and the communist government that if any candidate passed the doors of seminary or monastery, they couldn't take him out. And that's why I was safe. And then Mom could report to them, he's already in the monastery, you can't take him.
You were at, do you say in
1991?
1991.
Yes.
And that was when Pope
John Paul II came to Poland. That was the first time after the communist collapse and was gone. And the Pope's idea, it was to bring the East and West of Europe together. Two lungs. He described that the two lungs can breathe together as one united Europe and one body of church. And that was one of the greatest experiences in my life. Yeah.
So did you have any other involvement during the World Youth Day, or were you just attending there as a priest?
No, that was my role. It was to help the whole preparation because we as a Pauline Fathers and the Shrine of Black Madonna in Częstochowa, Poland, we hosted that event.
Okay, yes.
And that's why the whole shrine was responsible to prepare the main celebration with the Holy Father. My role, it was to prepare the whole liturgy on behalf of the Pauline Fathers, and then cooperating with the Vatican representatives as well. And that was wonderful, again, time to be involved, to celebrate later on. And I did even serve the Mass when the Holy Father said the Mass in the Black Madonna Chapel in front of the icon, and later on the main Mass outside the church or shrine for the whole crowd of people. And then one of the privileges in the time, and what I can see now, that John Paul II as a saint, I received Holy Communion personally from him.
What was that like? Do you have any feelings or like memories from that moment?
The personal experience was a moment after Holy Communion, when Holy Father went back to his chair to doing his Thanksgiving prayer. And then I came with another seminarian to wash his hands, and then we were kneeling in front of him, and he was praying. And outside front of him was about more than 1 million people. For him, I could see his face. He was with God. He was praying. He was kind of the mystical experience.
Wow.
And we were kneeling and waiting, and he didn't see us. But I could see his face. That was very much. He was talking with God. I could feel and see that. And it is one of the most beautiful moments in my life to be in front of the Holy Man and seeing his connection with God. Yeah.
So you've been a priest for 25 years almost.
Yep.
And 23 of them you've been in Australia.
Yes.
So how did that come about?
It was kind of the decision which really changed my life in the sense when my first years after ordination, our new General Superior who was elected came to visit our monastery, and I came with wonderful idea and almost naive approach, saying to him, Father General, I'm ready to go anywhere you would like to send me. Having in my mind, obviously, Poland, because that's what I knew.
That was your world.
Yes, that was my world, exactly. And after a couple of weeks, I received a phone call from him, and he said to me, Albert, I need someone in Australia, would you like to go? And he gave me a couple of weeks to think and pray about that. And then after a couple of weeks, even talking with my mom, I was hoping that she will try to keep me in Poland, and then because Australia is too far away, but she said, son, it is your vocation, that's the way what you choose, you have to go. I was so angry with her that she didn't support my idea. But when I went to Father General, and I said to him, after praying, I still believe I would stay in Poland. I don't want to go to Australia. His answer was very simple and quick. You go. I need someone, you go. Wow. Go to the Black Madonna and talk to her. And that's it. That was the shortest appointment with my General Superior, which changed all my life. And coming to Australia, not knowing any English and not knowing the culture, which is so different from the Poland. Poland is very much Catholic country, people really involved with the church life, and was so easy to work with them. Coming here when you have only few people in the church, when you have pretty much old people, and you can't really communicate with them because you can't speak the language. And I became like a little child, depending on someone to translate, to help me, to take me everywhere, to the shop, to the even doctor, anything like that. So frustrating.
So your first few years were really bumpy?
Oh, very much, very much. And then I have to say, God had difficult time with me because I did complain. Okay. I did complain a lot and questioning God and asking why you took away from me everything what I know, and I could be so successful in Poland and doing a wonderful job for hundreds or thousands of people. I'm coming here and I can help maybe one or two, and then I can't really even express myself.
So, being in Australia, Where did you start off in Australia, and then how did you get to Marion Valley?
My first appointment was here.
Okay.
But Marion Valley was just open as a new place and shrine, and then I came here. But because distance to city to learn English, and then I couldn't really speak much. And then after Penrose Park, I did work as a parish priest at Smithfield Parish in Sydney. Later, after that, I was elected first time the provincial superior, and then I went back to Penrose Park for my continuing the jobs in the monastery.
So now your role at Marion Valley is
I'm director here of the shrine, because Marion Valley is a Marian shrine dedicated to Our Lady Help of Christians. Probably weekends they are the most busy regarding the numbers of people and coming here and different celebrations, masses, devotions, what we provide. Weekdays, they are more quiet and they are more, I would say, focused on our monastic life, our community life as a religious community. And that's why we're having both of them. But still, it's a time when we having people coming for individual retreats or prayers and requesting sometimes talk with the priest, spiritual guidance, direction with the problems what they facing in the life. And it is amazing number of people who are coming here to Marion Valley for the celebrations, liturgical celebrations and devotions, but also for the private prayers and then for the experience of this place as a shrine. And that's what is different from the parish life. Even if I can share the story from some years ago, my early years here in Australia, an experience. It was a couple of the older people, very close to us as a priest, and coming to our church and praying. They invited me a couple of times home, and then I became closer to them. And finally, they asked me for help. And I was quite surprised. What I found out, they were never been sacramentally married.
Oh, wow.
For years, living together, everyone thought that everything is fine. They were coming every Sunday to church, receiving Holy Communion, but they were ashamed and kind of afraid to tell anybody, and especially any priest, to help them. And they just came to me as a young priest who came from Poland and said, "Father, can we do anything?" And I just found out that they can be married easily in a sacramental way. And that was one of the things when as soon as I could, I arranged that moment that they could have the private ceremony, get married, and fix that relationship with God and shame what they had for years. What did happen? Soon after that, she got sick with cancer, and then after a few months, she passed away, and he also, after a couple of years, passed away. What was really, I think, important for me and showing me that I said to God and to myself, if this is the only reason you needed me to Australia to help this couple, to fix this marriage, life story and the sacramental life, that one day they can face God in peaceful way, is good enough. If the whole my life and priestly life even will be only for these two people, to help them to enter one day heaven, I'm happy. And that moment, it was one of the moments which also helped me in my priestly journey and accepting Australia, that I will not having the same number of people like back in Poland, having hundreds of thousands coming to church and be with God. If I come here and help only one or two, is still my vocation, make sense and meaning to me, and then I'm happy.
This year you're celebrating your 25 years of priesthood, so your Jubilee. Have you had any memorable moments or something you'd like to share?
25 years is quite a long time, and then there's a lot of things happening during this time. First thing I can for sure say, no regrets, about this journey, and I'm really happy to accept God's call. There are many things probably what I would try to remember, and I do remember, but probably a couple things. It is the work with the young people. It is one of the most rewarding and most challenging things in my life. From the very beginning as a priest, I was involved with the vocations as a vocation director back in Poland. That was my first appointment. Involved with the World Youth Day in 1991 in Poland, and then later on when I came to Australia and Sydney, 2008 World Youth Day in Sydney, another wonderful experience with a number of young people coming for that event to meet with the Holy Father, but also working in the parishes. And then in our shrines here in Marion Valley, also our shrine in Berrima, Penrose Park. That time in my life, it is time when I had opportunity to meet so many young people who are searching for God, who are searching for the meaning in life. And then through my ministry as a priest, I'm hoping and I believe that I did help a lot to have that kind of experience, encounter with God. And then especially World Youth Days, but also the parish work and the youth groups, that was one of the most beautiful things. The other things what we are sometimes forgetting, and it is the sacrament of life, and then in the church preparing people for the sacraments, and then even celebrating Mass. I always take that as a very special moment in my life, and I try to give as much as I can during this celebrating Mass, because I strongly believe this is the moment when people can have truly encounter with Jesus Christ, and sacrament of reconciliation. So powerful and so special, and then sometimes probably forgotten in our modern time, how much we can receive from God to be forgiven and reconciled and having a second chance to fix, to restore our lives. Yeah. We as a priests can find the ways to deal with our certain struggles in our priesthood, in the sense as a human person, kind of the human maybe satisfaction even, if we could say, but also meaning of our priestly life, that we can help even one or two people, and then our lives brings certain meaning. And did help me a lot, and then for these 25 years now I can say God is rewarding me a lot and still sending a lot of people to help. Yeah.
Thank you, Father, for sharing your story with us.
You're welcome, and I'm glad that I could help the people, hopefully, during this sharing my life story. Yeah.
Shalom World brings to you the Catholic faith in all its different dimensions. It can be a faith to inspire you in your own living of your Catholic life in society. Shalom World offers you an opportunity of being enriched and strengthened in your family life. We live in a culture that needs to have a Catholic presence. We live in a culture that needs to be evangelized by the presence of Catholic teaching and the inspiration to live according to our Catholic way of life. I recommend to you to be involved in the work of Shalom World. May the Lord bless you and bless the work of Shalom World. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.